Hey everyone, today we're playing Pandora's Tower. Yes, I finally got my copy. Came extremely late. But hey, I guess I get to save $10. That's price you get with a little benefit minus GameStop style. But anywho, Pandora's Tower. First impressions, impressive so far. Now, I could see there was going to be a few flaws and things here and there, but we're going to get about that. So first, the packaging. Obviously, it can retain the very interesting art style. It did not do the black cover, or the black actual case that the European version got. It's very nice looking, and it has a reversible art cover in the inside, so something a little nice for anyone who completes the game. You also, of course, get a booklet. Nice is that they actually put color in it, but there ain't tons of pages, but it is in color, so it's very nice. So let's talk about characters. Basically, the main story focuses around Aaron and Elaine. Basically, the story is, well, to be honest, the story actually is kind of confusing so far. Because it looks like the game's playing on the player is going to slowly get fed what went on while the characters progress with the aftermath kind of system. All I know so far about the actual storyline is that there was a festival, something happened, Elaine got cursed, and she is going to become a beast. Aaron has to hunt down flesh from these beasts that are located at a location of the 13 Towers. A merchant who also accompanies you and sells you goods and buys goods from you or spare meat, assists you in knowledge and information of these events. The merchant basically tells you that you need to fight the 13 masters and steal their master flesh, and you can cure the curse that's on Elaine. Now, this is about the most I know. I went through the first tower, and that's about it. It does look like it's going to be sprinkling little tidbits here and there. Apparently, the last thing I've really found out, that is Aaron and Elaine are from two different countries, and apparently they used to be at war with each other. So this leads to interesting speculation of things. Also, I have other personal suspicions about things. But anyway, the story does feed you information, but it does kind of leave you a little clueless in the beginning, because it just goes straight into a cutscene with music and that, no real information, and then you slowly get fed it as you progress in the game. So it looks like it's going to be, as you progressively get deeper, get more and more information. So, gameplay. So it's a hack and slash style game that I thought was going to involve a little platforming. However, I was surprised to note you can't jump. So I was like, well, a hack and slash game with no jumping. That's certainly a bit odd. Well, what's interesting in this game, and I'd like to know, you can use either the Wii remote or the classic control. I don't have the classic control with me at the moment. And that's mainly because I'm going to tell you, if you play Pandora's Tower, I recommend the Wii remote and nunchuck, and not the classic control. While Xenoblade and the last story, I both played with the classic control and prefer the classic control setup. The interesting mechanic of combat is immensely easier to use with the Wii remote. So basically, Aaron gets given a magical chain by the merchant. This chain has several unique properties. One is to tell you Elaine's condition of the course. More on that. The main thing when it comes to combat is the fact that the chain can both be used to hinder enemies and is used to remove their flesh. Or other loot. You don't always get flesh, but sometimes you will, sometimes you get other types of loot. Basically, you'll fight, you do the hacking slash part, you fight, dodge, and then, and basically when they're dead, you can bound the chain to them using the B on the Wii remote, and then pull, and you'll whip the flesh or other loot off them. Now, the other mechanic, as I said, you can bound and incapacitate enemies. Basically, when you hold the button, it'll zoom in the location where the little blue dot is, and then zoom in, and it'll kind of slow-mo so you can highlight body parts like the arms or the legs. Get my leg up there. You get to see my nice foot though. Like so, you can bound the legs up. Get some cheap hits or bound the arm that the sword's in. Now this ain't a permanent bounding, but it's a temporary advantage you can take advantage by chain. Take advantage of it. Now a lot of times you get multiple enemies, so chain, re-chain. You can blind them. You can throw it around their face and just be blind for a while. It's a very interesting mechanic to use the chain properly against multiple foes in it. Who should I incapacitate while fighting? Now, mainly this is hacking and dodging. So you get the A for hacking, and you use the Z button to dodge. The C button's used to usually conform and pick up items. Which leads to me to my first complaint. There's a lot of picking up of items. Now, there is a limited inventory, and you can make it a little bigger, and I'm going to assume you can make it a little bigger a little later, probably again throughout the game, but there is a limited inventory, so I could understand the necessary need to choose what you want to pick up. But at the same time, I kind of feel like I wish there was an option to set it to just auto pickup and then back to manual pickup. But that's just a personal gripe, nothing really against the game itself, but just my 2 cents. Because when you're at your little base, which is a oh man, I can't talk today. Observatory. Let's just call it a little tower. The little observatory. It's kind of late at night. I played this for like 2 hours. The observatory. That's just good. The little tower. The little tower. It's just a little building absorbing the 13 towers. I use it as a little base of operations. Basically. You have storage, save, communicate with Elaine, and do the ceremony of the flesh. Now the thing is, if you don't know anything about this game, Elaine is turning into a beast, and she has to eat the flesh of the beast to reverse it. Weak servants only weaken it, so it just makes it a longer process, while eating the master flesh is supposed to cure it, and there's 13 of them. And she has a symbol on her back, which is the icon of the game itself right there in the logo on her back. And supposedly that is causing the curse. Now, first thing you might be wondering, well, this will be easy. I just get a whole bunch of flesh and just keep force feeding it all. Well, she can only eat one meat one day. So, okay. I'll walk outside and come back and, oh shit, the spare meat I have one. I found, very interestingly, the game does do effort to challenge you to properly feed Elaine good meat as much as possible, but without being capable of just like, okay, I got 15 meats just clearing all down your throat. Any spare meat you got will rot when you go back to the tower. The merchant will buy fresh meat for money. So, basically, the best meat you have, feed to Elaine, sell the rest, put away items and stuff, or build. There was crafting, upgrading, repairing. There was a lot of options, merchant-wise, and lots of money you're going to need. Now, Elaine herself, when you're inside your little base of operations, plays out like a little relationship game. You can talk to her about things, certain event things like about the war, the festival have came up while I talked to her. You can give her items where she'll either just accept as, and your relationship thing will go up. Or she'll actually make you things, like I've given her dried berries and she's made me cakes to go on my journey and eat so I can replenish health. Very nice aspect. It encourages you to give her stuff and try giving different things to see if she'll make you things or different treats or foods for your missions and that. Because you're going to be doing a lot of backtracking, it seems. The longer it takes you to figure out stuff, the odds are you're going to backtrack more. Because you have to keep feeding Elaine flesh of the serpents until you can get the master meat. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but it seems when you give her a master flesh, it basically refills her tire gauge. Now, as I said, your chain tells you the progression of her course. In the bottom corner, there's a circle. It slowly drains away. Basically, when it's gone, she turns into a beast. Game over. No side option or anything. It's game over. So it's not an option to let Elaine change into a beast. Now, it does seem like there's going to be multiple endings because of how the relationship thing is, how I think the story is going to progress and stuff. I think there might be a few different endings in this. I do appreciate making the whole concept of the game challenging, though, because it could have just been simple to just take tons of meat and just cram it down her throat when you come back. So you need to give her the best premium meat you have retrieved and go back for more after, getting all your business done. Now, you have 13 towers, and I did explore a small smidge of the second tower. But I basically did the whole first tower that I could figure out in that. And it does look like you'll be returning, because there are locked doors both in the first and second tower. So I'm assuming there's either post-game or something later in the game's going to happen. You're going to have to return to these towers to do more stuff. And that's probably the more likelihood. I can see incoming plot twists. I think the story is going to get kind of twisty, because for one thing, I find it very suspicious that it basically didn't really tell us a whole lot of the game at the very beginning. It spoon-fed us a little, then go do your first fetching in the flesh, spoonful, a little more, go do, and it just keeps spoon-filling you a few bits of the story through conversations between Aaron and Elaine, or diary entries, and just progression of the story. So, I find it very suspicious how they did that. I feel that will lead to a plot twist, and I am suspicious of other plot twists due to how the story is going so far. So, challenging so far. The actual combat doesn't seem too challenging, because you got your chain, you got slashing, and you got dodging. There doesn't seem to be any kind of magic thrown in the way. You can do lots of interesting things with the chain, but so far there doesn't seem to be a whole lot. I did get introduced to flying enemies, and you can chain them and do a throw thwomp thing to get them on the ground and start attacking them and that. So it looks like it's going to introduce newer things, but I'm not sure how depth that'll get. Remember, this is a First Impressions, and obviously what I first have played and done is my impression of it. I did not die like I would say I would probably usually do the RPGs like Soul Hackle, but I felt like I got a good enough idea of a First Impressions. I don't think this game's going to be for everyone. I do feel like it might lack combat, possibly, maybe. Now, like I said, it's First Impressions. This is just based off what I'm thinking. I don't think the combat's going to get incredibly involving. It's certainly fun enough, but I think for some people, you might not find it in-depth enough. Now, this is going to seem like it's going to be very story-focused, with some twists, crafting of items, and resource management, because you have to keep Elaine from turning into a beast, and doesn't seem to be a way to abuse healing her. So you do have to be careful and search for good quality meat to keep the game progressing, or you're screwed. Now, I did not get a game over or die or anything, so I'm not quite sure how that works exactly. There are checkpoints in the tower, so if you die, I'm assuming you'll go to a checkpoint. But I'm not sure what happens exactly if a lane changes into a beast, whether you can go back to a previous checkpoint or if it just automatically game overs and sends you to the main screen. Voice acting so far, I like most of the voice acting except for Aaron. And he has very few lines and very few words. Um, Aside from him, I enjoy most of the voice acting, especially the merchant. She has a kind of a sinister tone to how she talks. Elaine's pleasant enough to listen to. No other characters ever showed or arrived into the picture, so I'm not really sure if any other characters will really be involved beyond what's currently been displayed to us. It seems like it's going to take a route where it's going to focus on a concept and go with it. It seems very heavy with the chain when it comes to combat and the fetching of the flesh. Now, the first tower did prove to show some interesting puzzles. It feels like it's, instead of platforming, it's going to be very puzzle-centric. So, if you're a big Zelda-ish fan, you might enjoy Pandora's Tower. It looks like it's going to have lots of interesting puzzles. And the whole chain thing, early on it shows how you can get items from far distance. You can use it to climb, scale walls and stuff instead of jumping. It looks like it's going to be pretty interesting, in my opinion. I'm looking forward to doing a Let's Play of Pandora's Tower indefinitely. I've been looking forward to this game very much. I have high hopes that might beat the last story in my likeness. It will be challenging for it to beat Xenoblade, though. While I love both Last Story and Xenoblade, it's really hard to beat all the content that Xenoblade offered. It offered a great story cast, interesting setting, tons of optional things, great customization, and meaningful characters to develop without just picking your favorites and not caring about the rest, because there are advantages to raising them all on it. The last story wasn't bad either, though, so... But it'll be interesting to see if I'll put above or below the last story in the end. I don't really have much else to say for first impressions of it. The story, there's not a whole lot to talk about, and any more of what I told would probably be massive spoilers because of how it's being designed. I'm sure it has a purpose of being told like that. I'm hoping for some fun twists and interesting ideas, and I'm hoping to see combat involved better. But until then, until I beat the game, I hope you look forward to a review. I hope you check out Pandora's Tower. Let me know if you have any questions or your opinions or thoughts on it. Please avoid spoilers to the story, though, down below. But basically, if you want to talk about the combat and other things, which, I didn't really talk about the sound or the graphics, really, actually. Graphically, it looks awesome, to be honest. I think it looks impressive. The only thing I think looks kind of is some of the monsters. The Force Master looked impressive, though. For Wii, obviously, though. Some of the monsters look kind of generic-ish, though. But aside from that, everyone else looks very nice. Aaron looks very nicely detailed. Elaine has nice design to her. And by design, I mean it looks like a woman without giant 2D double duplex boobs or something. She actually looks like a normal human being that might not develop giant back syndrome. Music, while there hasn't been tons of music, the music's interesting. Interestingly, the entrance of the tower music reminds me of what the hell was that game? What was that? The Dark Spiral, yes, the Dark Spiral. But, aside from that, I don't got too much else to say. you got any comments or questions, leave a comment. And I will bid you adieu. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you look forward to the Let's Play.